Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another fantastic, fabulous episode of Tevora Talks. I'm your host, Cash, joined as always by my co-host and partner in cybercrime, Mr. Matt Mosley. How are you, Matt? How's it going? How's your week been? How's life?
Doing well, doing well. Not too bad. No complaints.
No complaints. No complaints is always good because I feel in our profession we always have something to complain about, you know? Typically it's lack of logs from my, at least on my side of it, but yeah, that hasn't happened too much recently, I guess. So, but
That's true. Yeah, incidents have been mild lately. So that's good. We did have kind of a unique one. I thought was you don't get this very often, but the attackers got in on a host that was recording all of their actions. So that was fun. Made our job easy, right? We just had to review the tape and find out what they did. So
yep.
yeah. And then we checked our logs and all that good stuff just to make sure nothing else happened. But yeah, it was pretty, you definitely don't get that very often. So that was cool.
It always good to have luck because it makes it more fun too. You know, when you're doing an investigation, it's like it's kind of like going in the forest and you see footsteps and more footsteps, and then if there are footsteps all the way to the victim or whatever, then awesome. But if there are no footsteps, it's like, well, I know he went into the forest. I don't know where.
Yeah, in this case, they went into the system, saw that endpoint protection was running, and then they themselves ran back away and off into the ether to never be found again. So they got scared off apparently by I won't say which product, but an EDR platform, and so that was funny
Right
to
on.
watch.
EDR for the win. EDR for
Yeah,
the win. It works, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't have it yet, get it. But let's kind of I guess let's just jump into that. Some fun hacks of the week. I call them fun because obviously they don't happen to me, but you know, one that I want to talk about, it's not any kind of vulnerability associated with this name or names, but I'll kind of dive into it. So there's a threat actor called they're RomCom. They're spreading this no the threat actors I'm sorry of RomCom Rat, right? It's a remote access Trojan malware. This group, let me tell you how they kind of started and how this whole thing started. So the theory here is that their work that they're doing is part of some kind of cyber espionage because majority of their attacks are on in Ukraine, right? They're typically Ukrainian forces or Ukrainian companies, something like that, right? And obvious of the motivation there. They're not really sure exactly who is behind it. They don't think it's an APT group or anything like that, but nonetheless, this rat is getting out there. Now, the fun part is how it's getting out there. So here's this. You ready for this? So these guys have done, they have gone on, these big companies' websites, names SolarWind, KeePass, and PDF Reader Pro, right? They make fake copycat websites and they just the generic way, right? They go scrape it, replicate it. They buy a new domain name that looks very similar to it. Like they had one, they did Veeam also, but instead of like Veeam.com, it was wveeam.com, something like that, right?
huh?
And
Interesting.
and check this out, it gets even more clever. Now, for the purposes of it being Ukraine, the websites are in Ukraine or Ukrainian, right? Um, but obviously, similar, it can be translated down to English or whatever. So if you accidentally go on the wrong link and Googling it here, you'll still hit the same site, right? Now, so this is what happens. So you go on the site, it looks legit. Boom, click the button for a free trial. Okay. Now, for like, let's take SolarWinds for example. Their product is the network performance monitor, right? So you go, you fill out your form just like you would the real deal site. Name, last name, company you work for, how many employees, et cetera, right? You hit send, and it creates your account or fictitious account or whatever. Then you get access to the file and you can download it. Now, obviously, what they're doing here, the file that you're downloading is hiding the malware, right? It's embedded within the code. There's extra binaries in there. And a couple of them, depending on which of the packages you're downloading, which one of these tools, they're making the download file so big that it bypasses like these, security defense mechanisms, scan files because it's just too big to scan, right? So it just pushes it through.
Oh, interesting. Now, is that a
Now,
default or is that just those apps can't handle those large files?
that I really didn't go into because it didn't give me any idea of like which app or which platform is doing the scanning, for
Oh,
example.
okay.
But from what I'm assuming is I guess there's just the maximum threshold of scannability from these
Got
apps.
it.
That's what I
Yeah.
kind of got out of it. But then this is the fun part. So, the standard guy, maybe they'll check the hash, maybe they won't. But the clever thing is that form that they fill out actually goes and gets sent to the actual vendor. So if you're going on the fake SolarWinds website, you download fill out the form for the hackers, but the hackers forward the form to SolarWinds. So then what happens naturally when you download a free trial for any vendor,
You get
a
harassed.
sales rep will call you. So then a SolarWinds sales rep will actually call you and say, hey, I noticed you got this, request for the trial. I wanted to see how it's going. So you think it's all legit. You think you went to the right site. Hey, SolarWinds actually calling me to try to sell me. You think nonetheless of it. But obviously in the background, a lot of chaos is happening on your computer, right?
Yeah.
So I thought
That's
that was pretty
pretty interesting.
gnarly.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely something. I mean, this type of technique has been around for a while, right? Like making up the fake websites that look like look like the original. I mean, that's even part of like the SEO toolkit, right? If you've
Yeah.
ever played with that tool, you just push a button and it will clone a website and spin up a, fake copy. But this is really clever in the sense that not only does it create a fake copy, not only is it malware or is it a Trojan, but then the fact that they forward the information off to the vendor, so the vendor then starts harassing the
Yeah.
customer like a
Isn't
normal
that
client. That's pretty interesting.
clever?
That's the
That
long con,
clever.
man.
That's the long con. And they're not even part of it. They're both getting duped. The vendor is getting duped by
Right.
putting all this effort and work to actually helping the attackers verify their maliciousness in this way. And yeah, so the credits for this discovery is going to go to the
Unit
team at
42.
BlackBerry's threat
Oh,
research team.
got it.
Yeah. 42 from, I think, what is that, Palo Alto, right? They
Yeah.
also have started studying it and they're talking a little bit more about RomCom. But according to the reports I've read, I think the first guys that detected it was BlackBerry.
That's crazy.
So
So what are the takeaways here? The
the takeaways here,
Stay
I
away
guess,
from crazy sites.
at the very minimum, just triple check the domain that you're actually on,
Yeah.
right? Like I said, like Veeams was WVeeam. So, maybe to me and you, we would probably say, oh, okay, it looks right, but the W kind of looks like a V. Your eye can play little tricks, right? You can scan over that. You know that test they do in grade school where they give you a word, but it's a little scrambled and you can still read it and your brain doesn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
So, but I guess moral of the story is just be very, very cautious of the domain at the very minimum. These softwares like, I don't know, KeePass or SolarWinds Network Monitor, probably being downloaded by, someone with a little bit more tech background. So at the very minimum, once you get the file, at least check the hash, verify the hash with the actual site. But then again, it kind of goes back around. If you're like checking the hash from the copy, copied website, maybe they're putting a fake hash on there too, So I don't know, just do your due diligence, I guess,
Yeah.
before you double click and install. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to know what the original hash is, right? Like some download sites give that hash, but not everybody does that. So
Sure,
that
for
would be
sure.
tough. But yeah, definitely check the domain. That's number one, right? That's security awareness 101.
Mm-hmm. And
um,
then another thing that they're doing is, domain check the signature. But I don't know. I mean, once you've
in
installed
this
it,
case, it was signed by like a legitimate company, I think. So
yeah, but it was signed by this is I read it. It was like some construction company,
right.
right?
Yep.
So, but like, why would SolarWinds be signed by a construction company? So SolarWinds should be signed by SolarWinds,
I
right?
mean, you
So
never know. No, I'm just kidding.
I
Yeah. No,
guess.
that's a good call for sure. I mean, back in the high level, like nation state level, Stuxnet, that was signed by Realtek, I believe. I could be wrong, but they were actually able to steal the signatures from like a legitimate company. So that was pretty interesting. But in this case,
Yep.
yeah, that should have been an easy one to identify. Although for me, just me personally, I don't ever check the hash or check who the publisher was or signed. So
Yeah,
not
typically. I
very good
mean,
security practitioner, I guess. But I'm just being honest.
because
I don't know anybody that
it's
does
easier
that.
said than done. Yeah. I mean, I don't do it every time myself, but then
I also
it's
don't download
understandable.
shady stuff, and I also don't install things company wide. So
That's for sure.
I'm a low risk target, I think.
Yep.
But on a
This,
related note, for not downloading things from sketchy websites,
all
did
right,
you hear
what you
about
got?
this lapless clipper?
No, what is lapless clipper?
I hope I'm saying that right. But anyway, what it is it basically steals from your clipboard. And this one's pretty interesting. So this malware, off the shelf, you can buy it on the dark web if you're really interested. But anyway, it's out there. And what it does is when it's on a target's computer, when the user goes to copy their crypto wallet address, right? Like, so if you're going to go like on Coinbase or something like that, and you're going to transfer crypto somewhere,
Okay.
you want to know what the destination address is, right? Well, this malware will look at your clipboard, look for for crypto wallet addresses, and then swap it out with their address. So when you paste it
Oh,
in, you're sending your crypto to them. Pretty
dang,
clever.
that's clever.
So although I don't know how
Oh
many
my
how many
God.
people you'd get with that or how much money you could get from that, but still pretty clever. But anyway, yeah, it's out there, and to
That's
avoid it,
wild,
don't
man.
download crazy stuff from weird websites. So
That's wild. So you copy your thing that you think you copy, but you paste what they've, swapped out.
yeah,
And unless you're like, it kind of goes back to the same thing I talked about. Unless you're paying attention to every single character again,
right,
you're not gonna notice that. I mean, how many times have
exactly.
you
And who's
like,
gonna type in their freaking crypto wallet address,
oh, for sure.
right? Like those things are super long. So
Like, I mean, especially when it comes to copy paste, like today, I copied, a URL to send in an email, but then I guess my clipboard didn't copy it and it still had like the 2000 line Excel data sheet that I originally had copied. And they tried to put those 2000 lines into my Outlook email that I wanted to send. Obviously, everything kind of crashed, right? Everything
yeah, I was just
froze
about to
and
say
went
that's a good way
pure
to crash.
chaos. But then it took me a couple months. I'm like, why is this thing creating so much chaos? It's just like a simple URL. And then I pasted it on like a word sheet. I'm like, oh my God, this is not what I copied. So
Yeah,
understandable. Both of these understandable, I guess.
I mean, yeah, they're super, like you said, because it's not happening to me. I think they're freaking cool. This last one, the clipboard hijacker or whatever you want to call it, is definitely pretty interesting. And I guess it supports pretty much just all the major cryptocurrencies. It's got Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Monero, etc. So although I don't see SHIB listed there, so I guess I'm in the
Shit.
clear.
Dojezilla.
No Dogezilla.
We
How many
almost became
Dogezilla do you
Dojezilla
own?
millionaire. I don't know, probably a trillion adds up to maybe a
Well,
dollar now.
you
I
got me
don't
on
know.
that one. I think I have 44 trillion. So any day now, we're going to be rich.
I can't wait. I
By the way,
can't
nobody
wait
won
for
Powerball. We got to go back. We got to go back out and get more Powerball.
when is the next drawing?
I think tomorrow, or maybe it's tonight. I think it's tomorrow. Anyway, it's 1.6
Powerball.
billion. So
Well,
this
as
may be
as
the last Tevora Talks podcast.
if you all don't hear from us ever again, Know
Cash
that
and I have a
my
pact that if one of us wins, we take care of the other one.
yeah, I said I'll give you 1%. 1%.
Yeah, same. And it's recorded. This is evidence. This is can hold up in court right here.
Yeah, right here. 1%. 1%. What is it at? 1.5 billion?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's like $15 million right there.
Yeah, done. You don't have to twist my
Deal.
arm.
Well, yeah. So with that
Don't
said,
threaten me with a good time.
if you're listening, number one, pay attention to what URLs you are. Number two, verify what you download. Number three, I guess be very, you know, cautious of what you copy paste. That's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
And if you haven't bought the Powerball, buy it. And if
That's
you
our
don't hear from
takeaway.
me or Matt,
Go buy
yeah, if you
Powerball.
don't go buy Powerball. If you don't hear from me or Matt ever again, we're probably on an island somewhere, no longer doing cybersecurity.
Man, that would be nice. We just buy Tevora.
I just pay
But we'd
everything
have
in
to keep
cash at that
everybody in
point.
place to run it because we don't know how to run it. So.
Yeah, we don't know what to do. Just to keep our health insurance, we'll buy the company.
Sounds
But
good. All right. Well,
with
I
that
took
said,
notes. I know what I'm doing after this.
there we go.
I'm gonna go buy Powerball
What
and
was that
SHIB.
one movie? Do you remember that movie, Bank Job or something with the little mini miners, those little cars, the Mini Coopers?
Oh yeah, what was that movie? The Italian Job.
Italian Job, yeah,
Yeah,
where the
yeah,
guy he like steals from everybody that was doing
yeah,
the
yeah.
stealing, and then he buys
And
everything
buys
that
all the
they
stuff
said
they
they want.
wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
look,
actually
I
enjoyed that
got the
movie. I don't think it
stereo
got good
system I
reviews,
wanted.
but I like that movie.
Yeah, that was really fun.
I'm easy to please though. All my friends can
So
attest that while I don't admit I'm a fan of bad movies, I just like all movies, and so most of those are bad.
we should do a mini episode on our worst movies in our opinion.
We could do that. We do need to do another hacker movie review. I think we haven't done one of those in a while.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll do that next
And
time.
and if
Indeed.
we want to combine worst movies and hacker movies, we could do The Net
Worst.
is a good one. Or actually I would even argue Black Hat is even worse. So yeah, we could do that
All
100%.
right. Deal. We'll call it the worst hacker movie.
The worst hacker movie review. I'm down. I'm down. We'll do that
By
for the holiday
Mimecast.
season.
We'll either give it one or two thumbs down or
Or
even more. You
five
never
if we
know.
can.
Yeah, if we can. So stay tuned. Check in with us more. Like us, subscribe to us, hit us up. If you find us somehow, send us an email. We'll send you some free cool stuff. And with that, I guess that's all from me. Any final words of wisdom, Mr. Mosley?
No, thanks for listening to the world's okayest security podcast. And tell
We
all your friends to like and subscribe.
we love it. We appreciate it. And till next time.